Hello and welcome back to SpeakGeeky. I will be your Coca-Cola fiend, Victor Aparicio, and joining me today is Craig Terry.
I'm just Pepsi.
Craig, today's a special day.
Is it?
Because for those listening to the audio podcast, you're messing up right now. Because guess what's on our YouTube? A video podcast. Why are we on video? Because
you gotta show off our new toys.
we got some very special toys in our households. Craig's over there enjoying the Xbox One. Thank you guys if you watched his impressions.
Xbox One.
Oh, sorry, the Xbox Series X. Jesus Christ, I'm really losing it. Like,
yeah, you are.
I complained really hard that the names weren't that confusing.
Yep.
Here, like 4 times in a row, probably in each episode, I fucked it up. Though to be fair, I was arguing what the consoles' names were, but whatever. Anyway, so thank you guys so much for watching his Xbox Series X impressions as well. If you checked out my PS5 impressions, and what we're doing today is our reviews are in progress. And so we just wanted to take the chance to talk about our thoughts so far about the console itself, the controllers, and generally where we see these things heading, and stuff like that. But I'm going to take the chance to check in with my best friend. Craig, how are you?
I'm just fine. 2020 fine.
It's 2020, that's right. 2020 is synonymous with real bad times. We got the pandemic. We got a bunch of our most famous people dead, and it's just not good. But you know what? We got new consoles. We got a new president. we got some promising updates on some vaccines. This is a good time.
Yeah,
it's time for us to celebrate.
I think we're finally going uphill. You know, going into 2021 right.
So, if you guys like this show and want to be a part of it, you can write us an email at speaky@outlook.com, or you can comment on our social medias. That's going to be SpeakGeeky Media on Twitter, SpeakGeeky on Instagram, and search SpeakGeeky on YouTube. And let's get on with the show. Gregory.
Yo.
First, let's talk about designs of the console. These guys came out looking very striking. Xbox went with this monolithic sort of, minimalist-ish, if you will, whatever words that are not in my vocabulary to describe. What do you think about the Xbox design now that you have it in your hands and you can, experience with it?
Yeah, it's it's super. You're right. It is minimalistic, and it is basically just a shape, But it's also really bold, very striking, very intimidating. It's just nothing except the Xbox symbol and the very cool accent on the top. So it's really cool where it is that minimalistic look, but also with that touch on the top, and just not in the direction I thought they were going after the Xbox One X and the One S and all the ones. So this is in a totally different direction where they went in kind of almost like a standing computer case. And I didn't think that we would see that in consoles, and I also didn't think I would like it so much. But it's just so cool to have just the big open vent with a huge fan right in there. You can see that. And when that thing's on, it's just like it's so cool. So I didn't expect to like this design as much. I was more like let's go to the future. Like PlayStation's going with a very futuristic look that you'll talk about. Mm-hmm. But I didn't think I'd like it that much. And then the more I see it and the more I feel it, it's just such a compact, like dense. It's heavy. It's if you watch the teardown, like they stuff so much stuff into this, like it's small. It's smaller than it looks, especially when next to the PS5. But it's just such a cool design, and I am really impressed by it.
Yeah, I think what I like most about it is like aside from the Xbox 360, Microsoft mostly designed their consoles to be like just like, sort of laying down, and they pretty much, made it very obvious, especially when it came to the Xbox One, where it's just like really big vent on the top of it laying down, and like exhaust from the bottom. It was sort of like very traditional in terms of like how like a Sony PS2 was designed, stuff like that, except like I said, the vent on the top. And like, so before, when I thought like, oh wow, that's the Xbox Series X, it looks so awesome, and then a sharp decline down for me, and I was just like, actually it's pretty boring. But now I'm coming back around being like, actually that's the most, in terms of all the other Xbox's ones, where they're all look the same, the original one, the One S, the One X, all almost look the same. So in those terms, it is very radical, very different design. So
Yeah.
like I'm actually back to being really impressed with it.
That's cool. Yeah, I like the accent on top. Really reminds me of the OG Xbox, with that green Xbox symbol right in the middle. And it's a cool throwback. And I think with the Xbox One, they were so dedicated when it came out, with being like a video games, but also for your TV and also like multimedia machine, with your Kinect and all those things. And it kind of lost itself, like trying to be this everything, and it lost like the gamers, And this is really taking it back, and like, no, this is a console, and it's powerful. It's the most powerful, most teraflops, whatever you want to say. But like, this is daunting,
Yeah.
That's what I think when I see it.
Yeah. A bit of my pickiness was a little disappointed that the top didn't glow. But honestly, until your impressions, because I've seen it before in like other YouTubers' videos, for some reason they didn't do too good of a job showcasing like how it actually looks to like look down into those vents and stuff like that. But I don't know. There's a certain part in your video where like you had it tipped over, while you're talking about it, and I was like, wow, that actually shows up really well. I thought it was gonna be like really subdued, and like Xbox is sort of like, no one's gonna be looking at the top that often anyways. But like you can like barely curve it and see some green, and then when you really tilt it in, it's just like, wow, it's like such a nice touch.
Yeah, I'm the same way, where I was like, I thought it was an LED at first, and then it's like, oh, it's just. But I think I like it so much more this way because, right now it's unplugged, and I'm not, there's no power going to it, and it just looks like it's green on the inside, So
Cool.
Yeah. What about you, Victor? What are your impressions when you finally got that hulking beast of a console in your hands?
Yeah. So as I mentioned in my impression, it's so funny how I actually expected it to be bigger. I think it was just like how everyone on the internet was talking about it, where it's just like that thing is massive, and we saw the teardown too, and like even then it looked massive, and I was just like, I just thought like my thought was it was gonna be unmanageable, that people are gonna have to like, buy a second house just to put this thing in there because it takes up the entire room. And it is very large. I will not understate that, but I guess I just have the privilege of like being able to stand it upright wherever I wanted. I can also put it sideways and still have plenty of room in my entertainment console for that, but I'm not going to do that because you're going to make fun of me. So in terms of its size, I was actually like, okay, yeah. Like, I don't know what that says about me, but for the actual design itself, it's very striking. This thing, like, I can see myself. This thing, like, it sort of demands to be looked at, and I'm not sure what that says because in contrast with the Xbox, like, other than the face of the Xbox Series X, there's nothing. It's all like one solid color. There's nothing on the sides, and then the back is just obviously the ports. This one at every angle, like, sort of like demands that you look at it. Even if you look at like straight off, you can kind of see the subtle curvatures of it not being a perfect rectangle. It has the wedge shape, like sort of like guiding your eye to the top, where you can see its popped collar, being all cool in the 80s or whichever decade that is. And so, just it's being its size and it being like so striking, like, yeah, in the middle of me playing games, I'll look over and be like, oh yeah, that's the thing I'm playing games on. So yeah, what do you think of a?
Yeah, I mean, you heard me for years saying like I really wanted to be a huge console, you know, and that was a joke because I thought like I was worried that we were in that kind of time frame where they're trying to make things smaller and smaller, which we saw, you know, with like how the Xbox Series S is just so small and so compact. That's what I was kind of that's what I was waiting for, you know. I was like expecting that to happen. And when they showed off this like huge console, this huge futuristic looking, like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just like a mix of Alienware, like messing with your router, like it's such a cool futuristic look that I was genuinely surprised and excited. I think it looks awesome. I think it looks straight out of like a spaceship, and I'm 100% on board with it. I really like how both consoles are so different from each other. You know, where Xbox took the minimalistic route, Sony took the complete and total opposite, where it's just like this is it. This is, you know, whatever this is the PS5. And and I like where you said that it does, you know, really just it begs to be talked about. Like if somebody walks into your house, you're going to see that PS5 and be like, what the hell is that? You know?
Yeah.
And especially with the accent when it's glowing and on, like that just looks so cool.
I do love how pronounced the glowing is. Like it's it really takes you, like I remember on the first night where I was just like, all right, sad to say, but it's time to say goodnight to the PlayStation, go to bed, wake up, and hopefully it's not stolen. Like, so it's just like I can see the lights from the windows from outside. No, but yeah, and like in the night, like these white panels are just perfect for reflecting that light. Different from like its head-on direct light from like the PS4s and stuff like that. And I know in the later consoles that's like not a pro. The PS4 Slim, as you will, it's just like a dot now. It's just like not even a light bar. This goes back to just being like radiating, being like, hey, I'm in rest mode. You can just hit one button and we're back to gaming. But yeah, I was thinking about like, you know, why Sony needed to make such a big statement on the console, because like there have been times before, and you know, they weren't 100% serious. In fact, there are some executives you know, backpedaling for other executives, because like what was it? I think it was like the Asian Sony Entertainment America or Sony Interactive America president for the PS4, who when everyone was demanding to see the console, he was just like, it's just a box, guys. And then another president is just like, actually, the box is fantastic. It's going to be designed by this guy, and it's great, and all that stuff. So this time being like foot forward, being just like, yeah, look at it. You literally can't avoid looking at it. So I don't know. What do you think Sony is trying to? Why have such a basically a statement piece in your home? Like what would be the point of that?
Yeah, I am just, you know, they definitely took a focus with cooling, and they like knew they wanted to have a big console. But yeah, the reason that they went like with that design as opposed to like the Series X box, I think they know that there are, you know, the most wanted console. Like people are waiting for the PS5. I think they know that they can go wild with it, and they want people to talk about it, you know. And it's a statement piece, and it caught on with the memes, it caught on with the news. Like everyone's talking about just how wild this thing looks. And whereas you walk into somebody's house, you might not notice the Series X just because it's all black and it can kind of hide away in your entertainment center. Like there's no hiding the PS5. People are going to come in and ask about it, and your friends are going to see it and want it, you know. It's I think that's it too. It's just
advertising your own home.
Yeah, they want it talked about. They want to be the big news, and I think it's working.
For sure. Okay, let's move on to arguably the most important part of the console, the thing you interact with the most, and that's the controller. Craig, this time around, Microsoft knows what they have. Don't fix what ain't broke.
Yeah.
Award-winning controller. But there are some refinements. Why don't you tell us about the
Totally. So yeah, you're right where
Series
they're
X controller?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. We have the Xbox One controller here, and then the Xbox Series controller here, which, as you can see, they're pretty close.
Yeah.
Big changes are the back right here has more grip. Same with the analog sticks, which is really nice. The the analog sticks on the One are shiny, like they have that kind of like, they don't have grip on them. They feel like whereas these, they feel more rubbery with a little texture, which is actually super nice. Feels really good to use. It feels a lot better actually now that I touch both at the same time. But but it's it is a subtle change, but it does change a lot, at least in like games where you're touching the triggers a lot, like shooters and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest change, there's also the new share button. It has the share button right in the middle, where it kind of borrowed a little thing off the DualShock 4, but that's where you can take screenshots and record your video footage and things like that. And it works just like it should. You click on it. What's cool about the Xbox kind of sharing is you can do everything on your phone. So if you share a screenshot, you can get to it over your phone on the Xbox app and share it on your social media or whatever that looks like. So it is a lot more unified with the app, which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then the big change for me is the D-pad. The D-pad is a lot different. So we got the D-pad that was more on the Xbox One Elite controllers, as opposed to the normal cross D-pad, which which you can hear it's a lot clickier. But it's a lot more responsive too. Xbox got a lot of crap over the years about just how their D-pad left a lot to be desired. It wasn't as like responsive or as nice as people wanted it, especially when you're playing like platformers or indies, things like that, where you really need a good D-pad. Yeah. Where and in fighting games and things like that, where you really need precision, even using the D-pad. So it's really cool with this D-pad, where it has the diagonals just more profound and more easy to get to. And I like it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't expect that I would, but I find myself using it more when there's games that give you the analog option or the D-pad option. I like to use the D-pad. And yeah, I didn't think it was going to be that big of a difference, but it's really nice and I like it.
Yeah. That's the thing that struck me the most was that D-pad, because like physically going from the plus shape to like what looks like a disc with just like profound like big lipped like edges or whatever you may call it. I was wondering if we were gonna go back to the old days where Xbox tried to fix the 360 pad by letting it like twist so you can have your plus but also have the weird disc one. Is it anything like, I know you were just talking it up positively, but like do you see it, basically what I'm asking is, do you see it being controversial in any way?
I mean, D-pads for Xbox have always been clicky. This one's a little clickier, I think, just with like, so somebody might complain about that, but I think it's a positive move, and I don't think it's going to get a lot of backlash. The biggest thing that people have been, just kind of sad about, or not sad about, but like, we're in 2020 and this controller is still using AA batteries. But that's more of giving people like different choices, where somebody, might have a pack of a bunch of AAs. They don't have to recharge their controller. They could just grab some new ones. And there's the charge plug and play pack that you could buy separately that basically changes it into, charging by USB-C. So I don't see it getting that much flack for what it is. The biggest thing is just like, it is so much similar to the Xbox One, where there's not that new generation jump. Yeah. So I think that's going to be the biggest thing, where people are like, it's good, it's great, but it's not new.
I think people need to get over the batteries. And this is coming from a dude who swung, because like I would always be like, stupid batteries. Like why would you ever want to freaking let them die and be like, I gotta go find some new ones? And like, you know, when you can just grab a cable. Day one, this guy, which I'll get to, died probably because, you know, it doesn't come fully charged. And and I was still testing and like doing stuff, so I ended up having to be tethered to my console while I was charging, and a little bit I still need to figure out what the issue was, but this didn't end up charging while playing. When I unplugged it, it said it was still dying, and I was playing like Miles Morales for like 2 hours, so that's a little weird. I'm gonna have to check that out. But to end my point is, if you don't want to be like tethered or have to stop playing, you know, just get a 4-pack of rechargeable AA's, take them out, put them in, you're fully charged again. So, you know, anyway, cool.
Yeah,
I think that's all I had to ask.
What did you... So, PlayStation went kind of the complete opposite route again. What did you think when you finally got your DualSense in your hands? I know we saw a lot of previews and other things, but this is a controller you really have to feel to believe, right?
That's right. For first and foremost, when it came to, you know, because when we first got the images and the features were more just words on a blog, the PlayStation blog, it was kind of hard to judge that stuff at the time. So I was just looking at these pictures, and I was so interested on just how many, you know, lips and edges this thing has. Like it's hard to see on my lame webcam, but like there's just parts of the controller where it just kind of comes off, and like the whole thing is not. Yeah, there you go. That's a way better picture. Some parts are not like the same shell. It's like a different parts of shell. And I don't know, it makes so much sense now that you have it, of course. But in those pictures, I was like, the only thing that's going to explain this is that Sony now has a bigger understanding of just where players' hands actually rest and touch, because no one's going to like put their thumbs like up here on these lips and be like, man, I can just feel it all day, just this weird edge. It's like, no, you hold the controller naturally, and Sony is very aware that, you know, you touch the face of the controller, you touch these triggers, and everywhere else they can sort of be more creative about it, which is why I guess they accentuated it with these two tones. They do say they're coming out with more colors and stuff, so I'm really interested in seeing how they play around with that. So that's when it came to like the first impressions. Now, the thing that makes this controller crazy is just all the tech they put in it. So obviously we know about the new haptics, the new resistive triggers, adaptive resistive triggers, speakers old, microphone is new. So there's that as well. And touchpad's the same. It's just a little wider and like for some reason angled, but you know, it's all good. It's easy to reach now that it's angled. So you can just really quickly with the flick of the thumb being like there, tap the touchpad to go into touchpad menus or whatever. But yeah, it's very striking when you first pull it out of the plastic and get a look at it and be like, wow, this is completely different. And actually a far cry. My last point before I asked you what your thoughts is, when they were talking about the DualShock 4, they're like, look, it looks completely different, but you'd be surprised how it feels exactly like the DualShocks that you came off of PS3 and PS2. And that was so right. When you felt it, when you like gripped it, like everything about it felt like it was in the exact same place. When it comes to the DualSense, they actually made the effort to, like I said, form in your hand, give it that weight, move the things a little wider apart, because they know that, you know, that you're big head. You know what? I will say one more thing before I pass it off. It's, Craig, I feel like me and you we're at the perfect millennial age to grow up with Sony, because if you saw my impressions with the super small original PlayStation controller, that fit our tiny baby hands perfectly. Now that we have giant hands, those arms don't fit anything. Like it's a toddler's toy. And then as we grew up, the controllers just got bigger and bigger, and now we got this with our stupid big meaty hands. I think.
Let's hope it keeps up with us. Once we're 30 and then 40 and.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure we're avoiding telling you guys that Sony's been calling me and Craig our entire lives and asking us our input on the controllers. But anyways, what did you think when you unwrapped your DualSense?
Yeah. I mean, right off the bat, you touch the DualSense and you just feel like it feels like a premium product. It feels like expensive. Like it feels, after just holding this for a while and touching it, and like it makes the DualShock 4 almost feel like a prototype. It just just feels like not just the next thing, but like branching off of what that was. And we still have the touchpad, which isn't as it's not as protruding as the other one, where it was brand new and it's just like a big black bar. This like forms in the style of the controller. Look at that. Yeah. I also really, really love that no light bar. I didn't like the glare on my TV, even on the dimmest setting. Sorry, PS4. Like, I'm so impressed with the glow. That's just so cool. And I just accidentally turned on my PS5. And I'm just really, really, again, they go with the futuristic look. They go with like something striking and pull it off so well. And that's what it is for me, is it feels like an evolution.
Oh yeah, totally. And when you get into the world's best new game, Party Game of the Year contender Astro's Playroom, that really shows off what this controller is capable of. It was so, like, I'm just gonna say it was actually profound to be like, we've gone from like the PS2's like pressure buttons that they took away in the PS3 to being like, oh yeah, you can press it really hard and a Solid Snake will like pull up his gun, and if you lightly let go of the button, he'll put it away because he knows that's a bad idea. But and yeah, and like we went from like small things like that, and obviously the rumble that came with all the consoles of that time being just like, ooh, you can, when there's explosions, you feel it. This is just like, nah, screw all that baby stuff. Like, not only can you feel explosions, but you can feel footsteps. Astro, when he's walking on different surfaces, whether it's sand, ice, metal, and glass, like it has a very like different time. And I was actually thinking it was like a perception of sound. So I actually turned off my speaker real quick, and it actually does feel a little different. So which is like crazy to me. But yeah, so there's that. Like I said, there's speakers, so like you can even hear all the things that he's stepping on or like yelling and squealing about. The adaptive triggers is even surprisingly even the more crazier thing, because they're like, even when you're entering the game and it's just showing you just real quick like how it is, and like you can do like the booster pack thing. I was like, it was so different that I thought like, I was like, I'm gonna break this trigger. I'm gonna break this trigger because like it's fighting me so much but wanting me to press all the way down. And then you can feel that very tactile like bump of like going past that threshold and then pressing the controller, the trigger all the way down. And I was just like, man, how long is that gonna like keep up? Is it gonna like wear out over time? It is weird like talking about a concern like that as a positive thing, but it really is that like you're thrown off by it. You're just like, whoa. So, and I think a controller that's able to do that to you is a pretty good feature. So,
yeah, I couldn't completely agree. I think the wow factor is just out the window, and the fact that they could just bundle in Astrobot and really have that showcase, and it's not just a demo, but a full length game, 5 to 6 hours, whatever it looks like. Just it's Sony knocked it out of the park, showing their new design, how well it works, and how fun it can be, all in the same bag, and full of nostalgia, like especially for gamers like us who've been playing PlayStation since the beginning, and getting all those collectibles and things like that is just really hits home, and like it feels like something else.
All right, Greg. We're getting ahead of ourselves. We're not ahead of ourselves. We're getting too into the weeds of how nostalgic we are. So we're gonna move on to the systems UIs. When you first turn on these consoles, you're presented with all sorts of menus and games and settings and things like that. How do you feel Xbox did in this arena here?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of Xbox UIs. I was there for the Blades. I mean, the OG Xbox. Like, there's been a lot, and they change pretty often.
R.I.P. Blades.
R.I.P.
The best UI.
Debatable, but I personally really like the latest UI that they've used. It works. It's simple enough. It's not perfect by any means, but it is the best, I think, best Xbox UI that we've had. And they finally, like, same with the controller. Like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So they haven't done anything too major to it yet. But the big thing is it flowing with the Game Pass, it flowing with EA Play, and it's as simple as you turn it on. You can go to your games and apps. You can have there's squares of your most recently played, but you can also add to your homepage specific games. So if I want, like on my Xbox UI homepage, I can scroll down. There's Forza 4. Scroll down. There's Undermine. Scroll down. There's The Outer Worlds, which are 3 games that I'm currently playing right now. Which it makes it pretty simple for me to just turn it on and have like my main focus is right there off the bat, which is pretty neat. And if I wanted something else, like a Game Pass game or an EA Play that just got added to Game Pass, those are easy to find too. So I wouldn't say it's the perfect UI, but it is the best one that Xbox has had. And now it's finally at a point where it can run. With the Series X, it is just smooth as butter. So I can turn it on. It loads up. If you have instant on, it is actually instant on now. It is just instantaneous. You click it.
Oh, wow.
And it's there. Which is game changer, especially when, you want a big reason for getting the Series X is so I don't have to turn on my computer, wait for the drivers to install, turn on a game, and all those things that go along with that. So it is a really nice change for me personally, just to be able to click it on, go to the main games that I'm playing right now, say, oh, there's Outer Worlds, click it on, and then I'm already in the game. So it is game changing. And the only thing that I really want out of the UI is right now it does output at 1080, which they kind of missed the mark. They're like with their big Series X launch, it should have been a 4K UI by now. And they did say that they're working on it, but they don't have it out yet. Which probably doesn't bug the majority of people, but for, tech nerds like you and I, Victor, like if we have a 4K display, we want to see 4K on it, especially when we're going into a new console. Didn't mean to make you cry, but you'll get there. But that's kind of the big thing. That's kind of the big thing right now that's missing for me at the UI. As for an Xbox UI, I don't think they have to fix it. I think it works. I think it's nice, and I like it.
Yeah, I want to go back to how buttery smooth the UI is, because and I have the same criticisms we both do of the PS4. And but with Xbox, I felt like I didn't want to bother with anything because I just knew that it would just like hang up or chop up or like give it a second to think. Like you were talking about the menus where like you can arrange your games the way you want. you've been able to do that on Xbox One, and I have messed with that because I thought that was neat. Where I was just like, oh, I can put my friends right here at the top because I only care about 2 friends that are online, so I can have them right there, check what they're doing if they're online, scroll down past that, see the games I really like playing currently right now, and all that stuff. And then every time I wanted to change something or it didn't feel quite right, I would just be like, oh, I don't turn my Xbox on that often, so I'm not going to bother. And that's because I'm thinking about how, like, you hit the button, you wait for it to load up, and then, like, with the changeable columns you can make and, like, all that stuff, and going through menus, checking back into the store, checking out of the store. Again, same criticisms with the PS4. Like, all those things made me feel like I'm not going to bother because it's just going to take long.
Yes.
And it's funny how we're talking about this in a thing that ultimately takes less than a minute, but we can say all the sayings like time is money or like all that stuff, but it's a very real feeling. Mm-hmm. Now that concern is just out of the way, like, are you just like flying through menus, changing things at will, and like you don't think about whether a small change is going to take you a little while?
Yeah, it's such a weird feeling because I'm coming from the 1S just like you had, and you're right about the hangups. My 1S eventually died. Like, it just stopped working. And I would wait and wait for the UI to load up, and I would try to go to my games and it would just load, and it eventually just stopped turning on altogether. So it's a complete
it too hard.
Yeah, it's a complete too hard loading up my games. It's a difficult, and the Xbox One, when it came out, it was already kind of underpowered. It was overshadowed by the PS4, and it didn't have like the power that it should. And then 7 years later, the 1S, like, it's still working with that same power, still trying to work through all these updates and all these things that they've done with the UI. And even though the UI is good, it can't run on the older console. So now that it's finally on a console that it can, it's just finally realized. It's finally where it should be. And I'm blown away every time I turn it on and I can just click on a game, and I'm playing a game in less than a minute, and it's just so different. And such a nice, it's not something that's promised this gen. It's not something we have to wait to finally roll out. It's something that's here, and it's something that's going to stay. And, that's just such a cool, like we don't have to wait for the next gen. Like, it used to have to be for other consoles, like waiting for folders and waiting for other things. We're already there. So yeah, I just am happy with the UI, and it's responsive. And just like you said, the store loads up, the videos and all those things. It's just works as it should.
Yeah. And I will ask you about quick resume and all that game loading stuff later in the show. But
yeah,
let's move on to our beautiful little boy. Sorry, there's no bias here. Sorry. No, but it's essentially the same story, except obviously we have a brand new UI with the PlayStation 5. As Sony said, no pixel was left untouched. In certain situations, it almost doesn't seem like it, because the settings menu and like stuff like that is like it's the same, like highlighted items are in a rectangle and like with the border outline, and like things seem very familiar, but like some settings actually seem like they're somewhere a little smarter, or like a little more like intuitive. Like you're thinking like where would this setting be, and like you see like the new named categories in the settings and be like, it's probably under here. You click on it, it's like, ah, there it is. So settings make a little more sense, but we're not here to talk about settings. We're here to talk about the cooler stuff, which is so in the main menu, like you've got your games, and the tab over is media, which I would say is a big relief, except for my particular situation, I'm not using media apps anymore because I have like the new Google Chromecast, and that's like way more nicer and fun to use, unfortunately. But I do like that. I do like how it's separated. It's no longer in this, like, it's not even like an app. It's just like it's in this box where you have to click on that first, then get to YouTube or Netflix or Hulu or whatever, and it's just gross. Way better. tab over. I did try it with YouTube. I tab over quickly YouTube. Whew, and it's like loads up real fast. I do the only real criticism I have about that UI is that I don't know about you. Maybe you know how to change it, but like there's so little for how much it celebrates showing these games full screen, big thumbnails with a little description and your trophies and all that stuff. The list is very small, the vertical list. So you can really, there's only like 6 games it shows at once, and I'm looking. Then you have to go in the library, and whatnot. And then plus there's the secondary menu, which is one tap. By the way, I do love how they reversed it. The one tap was the full menu, and then the hold was the side menu. This makes so much more sense. When you want to quick access something, you press something once. You don't wait for it. So that makes way more sense. Awesome, dude. And literally too, like you press it, flies right up, shows you your activity cards that we'll get to, shows you, you know, you can just scroll down, see your friends, see your parties in one tab, see like the game switcher, which is not a game switcher, but I'll talk about that. and just all these menus, like everything's moved around, and like you said, just nice and fast. As it's so nice to think like there's a new menu that we have to be familiar with, and you would think I'd grown about it because of how again the hangups and how bad the PS4 ended up being at the end of its life cycle. But to just blast through these menus while you're learning it is such a huge relief. What do you think of
Yeah. Sony really went with like familiar, you know, with the squares, but like in the top left, smaller icons, and it's familiar but evolution again, where it is similar but so much different at the same time. And
in 4K.
And yeah,
that I can't see.
And it is beautiful. I love how, you know, big game pictures and the music plays, like it gives me those PSP feels. And I'm really impressed with it, and I think it's fun to use. It does kind of do away with like user themes and things like that, so we'll have to see like how that plays out, because I'm very attached to my Firewatch theme on my PS4.
Yeah.
But no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I'm already over the system music. I won't turn it off quite yet. I know you're the system music turner offer, but to let you know, you do get sick of it a little bit.
Yeah. I'm very. You're like you said, it works. It shows you your games. I haven't had an issue where it's too small or the list is too small. I haven't had that issue yet. But I think it's a good one. I think it's a nice UI where it has improved on the PS4. It's kept what worked from the PS3. Like it's all a mix, but also an evolution.
Yeah, and keeping with the theme of like speed and how I feel like the console can't think as fast as I'm like going, and like the hangups and whatever, like those are also mostly gone. I'll explain why. But zipping through like feeling like it's not like feeling like I'm not gonna hit like the share button to like clip a gameplay, and then like rolling my eyes waiting to finally see that little icon that says okay, successfully saved your clip, and I'm just like, thank you, Jesus Christ. Especially the hang up when like you accidentally pull up the share menu instead of the screenshot shortcut, and you're like, god damn it, now I have to wait for the share menu to come up so I can cancel it because I'm in the middle of a multiplayer game. Thanks Sony. So like I just love how basically all that's disappeared. When I say that it's mostly disappeared, Sony's going to be Sony when it comes to just the nature of just like interacting with some of the menus. It's not mostly its fault. Like mostly what I was doing was a lot of like transferring and like moving my cloud saves from the cloud to the system storage. My word, I don't know why it takes so long. Like, so like I down for just for a quick example, I downloaded Days Gone because I heard it benefits heavily from stable frames, which is fantastic. That game was choppy as all hell when all those zombies come out, and yeah, so I just wanted to see it, and I was just like, oh yeah, I better pull my save because for some reason it doesn't do it automatically. I don't know why, but yeah. So you go in the settings, you pull it up. Apparently, Days Gone does this thing where like it just saves multiples of saves. I guess so you can have a backup for your backup. Like, oh, this saves fuck. I'm gonna go back to a previous checkpoint. Maybe that's what it's doing, but it took a lot of them. So it downloaded like 60 items of cloud storage files, and for some reason, even though they're all like just kilobits or megabits big, it still has to like, kind of like flip through them like a Rolodex or whatever. So like you ended up staring at it, and you do end up having this feeling. I'm sorry to say, poor Sony, that you do end up having a feeling being like, I thought this was like the new revolution. I thought this was gonna be fast. Okay, I won't blame it for moving the actual gains from my external because obviously the bottleneck is the external. But other than that, you do feel a little bit. But when it comes to going in the games, coming out of the games, to go in the menu, change something real quick, flip on your new headset and make sure the settings for the headset's right, jump back into the game, and like all the testing I've been doing, like I was like, oh my god, like and I told you guys, I was like, I'm gonna do a thing where I hit a button and I'm gonna sit and wait and like look at my phone real quick, and then but I pressed the button and it just went whomp, and then like it's in my face, and I'm like, right, okay, sorry phone, and like it was so fun to just be like, all right, it's fast. I'm done talking.
Yeah, it is fast, and I think I haven't seen a big difference in using the PS5 to the Series X. Like they're both as fast as I need them to be, and I haven't seen any hiccups or anything like that. It's where it's buttery smooth and painting like this beautiful, silky smooth future for us, and I hope it keeps that way. And so far, it looks like it will.
All right, Craig. Let's talk about the things we're going to be doing the most with these consoles, and that's watching a bunch of Netflix. No, that's the games. How are the games? How's the game launch? How are the new games looking or holding up? Are they next gen? What's going on?
Yeah, that's a great question, especially a great Xbox question, because Xbox, that's where it's struggling right now. Is it doesn't have an exclusive for launch. It has, say, like Yakuza and Into the Dragon, Yakuza
Like a Dragon.
Wow, I didn't know that, but yeah, like Yakuza Like a Dragon, where it is.
I'll just take your Yakuza fan trophy now.
Oh, you monster! Yakuza, it's enhanced for the Series X, whereas the PS4 version, that's not going to be moved to the PS5 until March of next year. So it has an exclusive there. We both know, Halo got delayed until next year.
So good. That gives us time.
Yeah,
we're crunching to beat those Halo games.
So Xbox is really relying on their past games, but taking them and really enhancing them to Xbox Series X specs. So I've been playing a lot of Forza Horizon 4, and Sea of Thieves, and other games like that have these enhancements, and it's really, really nice. Coming from a Series X, like I'll tell you, The Outer Worlds is something I've been playing a lot. Which The Outer Worlds isn't enhanced for Series X yet. It's enhanced for Xbox One X, which is confusing. But
yes,
I'm coming from the Xbox One S, and I haven't played this game since then. I played it a little bit on the One S, and it wasn't pretty. It didn't run too great. And then I played it on my computer, which was nice. But a big reason for me jumping to the Series X is because on the computer, I would play it, but then I would check my temperatures, and I'd check my, all the things, making sure that the game can run smoothly, and I was configuring more than playing. So with the Series X, I just really wanted a game that I can jump into and play. So with the Outer Worlds, I turn on my Xbox, I jump into the game, you know, less than 15 seconds probably, and it's beautiful. You know, this is a game that I didn't think was pretty the first time I played it, and now I'm like, wow, this game's gorgeous, and it's not even Series X enhanced yet. And just playing those enhancements, I'm like, I think when we ask the question, you know, is this next gen, we kind of have to ask ourselves, well, what does next gen actually mean? And for me, I think we've been in next gen for a while. You know, we've been playing these games like Last of Us Part 2, like Gears 5. I haven't played it, but I heard it's there. You know, we've been playing these games that are truly a spectacle, but we haven't had the consoles to run them properly. So we've been playing them, just not the way that they've been meant to be played. You know, with our old consoles struggling and chugging along and just trying to give us like this, and then my Xbox One S dies, doing its best job. And now we're at a place where the Xbox Series X is not just playing these games, but handling it like it's nothing. You know, I'm playing The Outer Worlds at a beautiful 4K and like playing for hours, and I can't hear a sound from the Series X. I can't, like, there's, you know, you can feel the temperature on the top, and it's like it's working, but it's it's like not even trying. You know, this is nothing for it. And the same with Forza Horizon 4, where I've played it on my computer and it's like hitting 80 degrees, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that. Like, you know, I don't want to melt my laptop right now. So I found myself playing less of it. And with the One S, where it's like it played it, but like, did it really? If you have to squint your eyes to see the cars, it wasn't that bad, but that's what it felt like. And now playing the One X, which Forza Horizon 4 is enhanced for the Series X, not the One X, Series X, and it's gorgeous. You know, the reflections on the car, the trees, like everything, like you're going at these fast paces. It's running at like 60 smooth frames, and just like The Outer Worlds, it's not even trying. This isn't even its final form. You know, this is barely starting. So I think that's what's next gen for me, is playing these games and not having to worry about the console that's playing it. And that's what feels next gen to me. I don't think the Series X has like a proper title now for me to be like, this is the next gen game you have to play. This is the reason to buy the Series X. That's not there yet. But it is there for playing backwards compatibility games. It's there for playing, you know, the current games. It's there for playing Forza and for Sea of Thieves and for Gears 5 and all those games that can actually run as they were intended. So I think it does have a lot to go in exclusives, which I think we're going to see soon, you know, coming out. But as of right now, it doesn't have its like must have, gotta buy the Series X for this game yet.